Mark opened his eyes to a familiar, crushing weight, not in his body, but in his soul. Before his alarm even went off, exhaustion had already settled in. It felt less like he had slept and more like he'd spent the whole night carrying a ton of bricks. He immediately reached for his phone on the nightstand. Notifications, text messages, and irrelevant news alerts instantly hijacked his morning focus. Mark doom-scrolled through his feed, absorbing absolutely nothing, and let out a heavy sigh. Another day loomed ahead, the same mind-numbing commute, a blur of pointless tasks, endless email threads, and meetings that could have been an email. His evenings weren't much better, usually crashing on the couch with Netflix playing in the background just to drown out the silence. Something's gotta give, he'd think every night before drifting off. But by morning, that motivation would dissolve in his daily routine like sugar in his coffee. One crisp fall afternoon, Mark decided to cut through the city park. He wasn't there to admire the autumn leaves, he just wanted to put off going back to his empty apartment. With his head down and eyes glued to his screen, he was suddenly interrupted by a gentle voice. "Hey kid, you look like you just lost your best friend." Mark looked up. Sitting on a park bench was an older gentleman with silver hair, deep laugh lines, and incredibly sharp, clear eyes. His smile was warm and easy, as if he saw something in Mark that Mark couldn't see in himself. "Me? No, I'm good. Everything's fine," Mark deflected automatically, zipping up his black track jacket against the chill. "Everything's fine," the old man repeated, nodding slowly. "And yet, you're dragging around exhaustion like a bag of rocks. You want some help putting it down?" Intrigued by the stranger's calm confidence, Mark paused. "And how are you going to help me?" "5 tasks," the old man replied smoothly. "Simple, but not easy. If you follow through, you'll get back exactly what you lost." "And what exactly did I lose?" Mark smirked. "Your time. You've handed it over to everything and everyone except yourself." Mark wanted to argue, but the words hit too close to home. The old man was right. He agreed to give it a shot. Task 1, the letter of release. The old man handed Mark a worn notebook and a pen. "Write a letter to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, or someone you're holding a grudge against. You don't have to mail it. Just write honestly, straight from the gut." Mark immediately thought of his dad. They hadn't spoken in 2 years over a stupid argument about money that had snowballed into stubborn pride. He started writing. What began as stiff, defensive sentences quickly turned into an emotional brain dump. As he filled the page, he physically felt the resentment melting away. He realized that holding on to his anger was just a black hole sucking up his mental energy. When he finally put the pen down, he wiped a tear from his cheek, not out of sadness, but relief. "The time you spent being angry is gone," the old man noted. "But the rest of your time is finally yours again." Task 2, the 10-minute win. "Next up, pick one tiny chore you've been blowing off," the old man instructed the following day. Mark thought of the crooked floating shelf by his front door. He had been ignoring it for 6 months, promising to fix it every time he walked past. That evening, he finally grabbed his toolbox. 10 minutes later, the shelf was perfectly level. Mark stepped back and actually laughed out loud. 10 minutes. He had let a 10-minute job weigh on the back of his mind for half a year. Fixing it gave him an unexpected rush, like he had just taken back a small piece of control over his own life. Task 3, a complaint-free day. Tomorrow, from the minute you wake up until your head hits the pillow, no complaining. Not out loud, not in your head. Mark thought that was impossible. His morning commute started with bumper-to-bumper traffic on the freeway. He went to grip the steering wheel and curse, but caught himself. Instead of getting mad, he turned up the radio and just coasted. Later at the office, a coworker completely dropped the ball on a major project. Normally, Mark would vent at the water cooler. This time, he just took a deep breath and said, "All right, let's figure it out." By quitting time, he noticed something crazy: he actually had energy left. The problems hadn't magically disappeared, but by refusing to waste time crying about them, his day felt lighter. He realized that constant complaining had been silently bleeding his time dry. Task 4, the 1-minute reset. Set a timer on your phone, the old man advised. Every hour, give yourself 1 minute of total silence. No screens, no distractions. Just be. At first, it was pure torture. Mark didn't know what to do with his hands. Sitting in dead silence, 60 seconds felt like an eternity. But by day 3, a shift happened. He started noticing the rhythm of his breathing, the hum of the city outside, the way his thoughts drifted in and out without him having to chase them. As he slowed down, the blur of his daily life slowed down with him. Time stopped slipping through his fingers. It became his ally. Task 5, paying it forward. Your final task, the old man smiled. Give your time to someone else. No strings attached, expecting zero in return. Mark called his mom, not out of obligation, but just to catch up. They stayed on the line for an hour, laughing about old family stories. When he hung up, he felt a genuine warmth in his chest. Later, he helped a neighbor carry her groceries up the apartment stairs, and finally grabbed a coffee with a buddy who had been trying to reconnect for months. Every time he gave his time away, he wasn't losing it, he was making it matter. The architect of time. A week later, Mark headed back to the park to thank the older gentleman, but the bench was empty. None of the dog walkers or joggers had seen a guy matching his description. Mark just smiled. The old man was a mentor who had handed him the blueprint and stepped away, knowing Mark had to build the rest himself. Mark pulled out the notebook the man had given him. On the very last page, a single sentence was scribbled in blue ink. Time is neither your enemy nor a resource. It is a canvas. You are the artist, what are you going to paint? Mark closed the notebook and looked up at the skyline. For the first time in years, he wasn't in a rush. He was fully present, right here in this exact minute, and that was enough. He was no longer killing time, he was creating it. Time isn't something you save, it's something you live. If you're watching this video right now, maybe this is your sign to hit pause. Which of these 5 tasks are you going to tackle today? Drop a comment below, hit that like button if this resonated with you, and subscribe to the channel. Protect your time, protect your peace, and make sure you aren't just existing, start living.